Rob here. Yeah, just cruising around on our YouTube comments from today, and I saw one from Jared Kavan that was asking about the album cover and like what was the inspiration. Said, what was the inspiration for Harmony's cover art? And Blake told me that comment was there earlier, and I was like, I can't answer that in like a comment on YouTube. It's a question we've been asked a couple times in interviews we've done recently, or like podcasts or whatever, and it takes me like 10 minutes to talk about. First of all, because I'm long-winded and can't just say the point, but also because there's like a lot of interweaving kind of meanings and stuff, whatever. That, and there's a lot of value that I've assigned to it after the fact. I'll say this, when I made the cover album art for Harmony, it was like a long while before we did the album or like finished the album. It was, I feel like we made the name for Harmony long before we made that album. We probably named that album like before we were done Grace Session. We were like, we're going to make this album called Harmony. It was almost like an intention set, and then we moved towards it. As far as the artwork, there was like artwork that was like the first draft for artwork back when like we did No Age and stuff. I remember anybody that had like the secret SoundCloud link for No Age would have that, and that was really cool. It was like this weird exploding looking chandelier that Blake took a photo of on film at one point, and the way the light exposed, it just looked cool. It looked like this explosion thing. It looked like a really abstract visual of like sound blowing out of ears, but it was like this chandelier. It was crazy. Very cool. It was all black and gold. But then I was messing around on my laptop and I started making all these little block figures, right? And I just had this like very vague idea, and I had inspiration one night, and I started just lining it up on Illustrator. And I knew that I didn't want the blocks to have like hard edges, so I remember like making them a little round, and I had like kind of like some vague ideas of what I wanted to do with like placing, like what I wanted each layer as it comes out from the center to kind of say, right? And I think when I was making that, I think I was thinking about my journey in life, which is, everything that rich people is it's my life story. That's what it is. I feel like it's like the one thing when when you're choosing like to make an art project or something. I think like you could come up with like writing stories or fictional story or like different things, but there's one thing that you'll never run out of material for, and that's like if you write about like your life story. And I know that's super popular in like like social narrative nowadays. Everybody's always like, tell your story, like brands, tell your story, bands, artists, like tell your story, right? And that's all it is. And with rich people, it's me telling my story. I have the privilege of being the person with the mic that gets to do the lyrics. So yeah, we run off of my story. My story from being in this band for a long time with these guys has been that it's intertwined now with the other guys, and we've all just become part of the same story together. But at its root, I get to write my story. And Harmony album cover, it's like it starts with this, I have beliefs, and like I was saying on the contrast mid-convo, when I'm the one with the mic, like right now I have the video camera, I'm just sharing my beliefs. I don't need you to believe my beliefs. I don't even need you to pay attention to what we do. I don't need you to care about this video. I'm not implying that my beliefs are everybody's beliefs, but I'm sharing mine because this is my space to do that, right? My beliefs are that like we kind of come into this world as this pure little white. It's like white always symbolizes like purity or something, like in the color scheme of things or whatever. So it's like we're like this blank. Really, I look at it as like this blank. Like nothing's been added to it, right? And I think we come into this world very loving, very curious, like little kids and stuff. They're very like. Even when they say something that could come off like if an adult said it, as like rude, like, you know, like when a little kid, have you ever seen a little kid ask their parent why other people have different colored skin or something? Like, it's very innocent. Like, it's not from a place of like, that is different, like it's bad or something. It's like very like, why is that, you know? And so I think, yeah, and I think that's because underlying, like with kids, I just think we come into this world very like innocent, pure, love is our main thing, right? And then things, you know, as you see the album cover builds out and it gets to this gray layer. And I think that's where we start getting like a personality. That's where we start getting the subject-object mentality of like, I need these things, right? And like things get a little gray. And that, I was kind of putting it as, with the Harmony album cover, it's not that we get to experience all of the layers. Some people get stuck in the gray area and they'll die there, you know? Like I'll talk to people that are much, much older than me and experienced in many more life things than me, and they're still very much in a space where like, they're very like naive to things. They're very like confused about it. You know, it's like it's not a linear thing where life just goes one way and we develop and we get to experience all these layers, right? So the album cover, I also made it so that it's not in a line. It's just in this like circle thing, and we can fall. You know, it's kind of like I can fall anywhere in this, in any of these cubes at any time, right? But there is like somewhat of a potential for a linear movement, right? And it was kind of like, so there's the gray area, there's like adolescence, and there's all the confusion. We get hormones, we get all these things, and it's confusing. And then some of us go through a dark period, you know, like some people refer to it as like going through the fire, right? And this again, some people never go through this. Some people go through this at 65. Some people go through this at 45. You know, I've gotten to have this very interesting life at a very young age, where my life is very involved with a lot of much older people, and people that share very candidly, like how their life actually is, like the really intimate details, right? And it's really cool. It gives me an interesting perspective on life, and it helps me to understand that like age isn't a factor in like growth and forward motion and stuff. So it's interesting. But anyway, we go through, like, the way I see life is like we started as this pure thing, and we become this confused thing, and you know, and we're just figuring things out. And sometimes a lot of us go through, or maybe all of us at different times, we go through maybe like that dark period, and that can last. What I'm saying to say is that dark period could last your whole life for like 40 years, or the gray area, whatever. I mean, you could be innocent your whole life, you know? I don't know, maybe that works. I don't know if that could happen. Anyway, maybe. But then there's this whole thing about all the colors and stuff. And when we get to the other side of like hard times, we do have a different perspective on life, and everything looks a lot different. And you get to decide if you stay in there. Like, again, it's not linear. I do look at it as we're always bouncing back and forth. Like I have dark days, I have gray days, I have very confused days, I have innocent, peaceful days, you know, but in general, my perspective has shifted enough, where, yeah, I enjoy the colors of the world now, and things aren't so black and white, and things aren't so right and wrong and all this stuff. And, so a lot of concepts dance around in this, like non-duality, and just things that I would have to get way too woo-woo and be talking for like 3 hours to really explain like how I feel about it, right? But I think the bottom line here is like, it looked cool, you know? That was, I made this group of things, and I was like, this is aesthetically pleasing. That was the bottom line. I can assign as much meaning to it as I want. You can assign totally separate meaning to it, and that's totally fine. Art is up for interpretation. But at the end of the day, I thought it looked cool. And there's a big thing. I'll go another step further too. So I designed it all out in Illustrator. It was just this flat document. And if you know from our album covers, and just in general, like our visual, I'll do like vector, you know, like Illustrator, like graphic files, you know, for flyers and stuff like that. Big things that I have enough time to really do something on. I like to make like an art project out of, and I'm not like a visual artist. Like I wouldn't like claim to be like some person that knows how to make sculpture or any sort of anything, but I do enjoy like a project like our first album cover. Like I ordered all. I'm not even gonna get into that. Our first album cover, it was a project. It was a serious project, and I know it just looks simple. It just looks like a blue mesh of stuff, but it's. I'll explain that some other time. I already have actually on a blog. Anyway, I'm moving on from that. Then our second was like Blake was running around with like disposable cameras on our tours for a while and stuff like that, and yeah, we used a like this really cool, oddly exposed photo, and I kind of messed with it a little and like flipped it upside down, and, like, you know, and that was Gray Session album cover. Was the Philadelphia International Airport. In case anybody didn't know, it's like a shot of us in a lobby. I think I was like asleep, and there's like a hat on my knee. You can see it really dark in the bottom. But then, yeah, for Harmony, it was like, okay, cool. How do we make, like, I wanted to make this thing three-dimensional. I wanted it to, like, stick out. And I looked at the cubes, and I was like, dice. I can get blank dice. So I started looking around. I'm like, it's got to be easy to get blank dice. So I find a couple of them, and I'm looking around, like, there's only a few colors, and, like, finding clear ones is going to be a problem. And, like, I'm really, like, looking around, digging around. And then it becomes a problem of all the different dice are slightly different sizes, right? So I order the main color ones from this one manufacturer that is in America, and then it starts getting hairy when I need gray and black and white, and like, I think the white one was easy. Yeah, the white one was easy, but the gray ones and the clear ones especially, like I needed the clear ones, and I guess I didn't even talk about the clear layer. The clear layer between the colors and the black in there. So yeah, I'll step back real quick. Sorry I'm all over the place. That's just how I talk. But yeah, the clear ones, I look at that, there's this thing that people talk about, the invisible smoke screen. It's why life requires persistence. I look at that, the whole cover reminds me of like basically my story of recovery. It's like, I got out of the fire, I got out of that dark, the super dark time, right? And I made it to the other side, but it was limbo for a long time. My friend describes it as a liminal space. I was clean, I was hopeful, I felt generally better, my life was getting better. Probably like my first 4 or 5 years clean, which is, you know, it feels like a long time when you're in the middle of it. But it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't here or there. It was like, yeah, I'm going to keep staying clean. I'm going to keep doing this stuff. But I still was going through bouts with depression for like multiple months. Sometimes it felt like the depression had just never ended, to be honest. Like it was just continuously like just tapping me back here, you know? You know, like some sort of like the water torture thing where it's just like, it just felt like it was, you know, persistent, like it was, you know, and I think that clear area is, it's not like there's some hard test, it's not like everything's glaring, it's not like, here's the right thing to do and here's the wrong thing, it's not like that, it's kind of like a persistence and just surviving my emotions through that time and keeping my feet moving, objectively in a forward motion. And, you know, and then nowadays I experience the joy, I experience the colors of life. So anyway, I said all that to say, yeah, I mean, that's basically the gist. Other than that, it's yeah, I got all the dice, and they came on like slow shipments from China, and some of them took like a month, and it was a whole mess, and none of them lined up properly, but we ended up getting them. And, yeah, we made the album cover that I pictured in my brain, and I'm really happy with it, and I'm just glad that everybody loves it so much and loves the album so much. You know, if you're, yeah, if you want to, and also, you know, we still have like a lot of cool merch with like all those designs and stuff on it. There's on our website, richpeopleband.com or richpeople.band. We have like cool ass t-shirts and stuff. I know we're about to do like a bunch of discounts just to clear all that stuff out for Black Friday. So if you want to wait till then, whatever. If you want to show us some support, some love, we're definitely financially going through a time right now. So, you know, want to grab some shirts? We got shirts. Anyway, I'm shutting up now. Bye.